morning everyone, and welcome to How Ines Rolls. Today I'm doing something extra special. I'm doing a cooking collab or baking collab with the Baking Diva. We are doing something that's nutty about chocolate, and I need to get going. I am making a Take 5 cake. It's one of my husband's favorite candy bars, and his birthday's in a few days, so this is going to be a perfect cake for him. Plus everybody else likes it here too, so it's really easy, and I just need to get going on it. But first I need to get a store-bought cake mix. Ta-da! So on the back, just follow the directions and cook it in 2 8x8 pans or 2 circle pans, because you're going to want 2 layers for this cake. So let me get going. So I've already put my ingredients from that's necessary to make a cake mix. So it's just going to be mixing up, and I've already sprayed my 8x8 pan. So I'll just get this going. And while I'm doing this, I'll tell you about the Baking Diva. Her name's Dolores, and she's from New Jersey, so that means she's got a great accent. And she's super fun. So she loves cooking with her grandsons, and she has 4 of them. And I have 4 boys, so we have something in common. And I don't know, she's pretty hip because her grandsons, they called her Glamma, and I thought that was super cute. So she has really fun recipes, really good, easy ones too. And ones that you could do with your kids in the kitchen. Like she makes this fudge in a Ziploc baggie, that's really fun. And she's really cute. So she loves getting dressed up for holidays. Probably I should learn a lesson to do that, because that would be make the kitchen more fun, right? To more cooking is if you're dressed up. I just try to put on an apron so I don't get dirty. At least I'm doing something with dressing up. So I'm gonna put these into the glass pans and cook them. They won't take too long, but I need them to completely cool. So while that's happening, I'm gonna be chopping up some candy bars and getting the mixture that goes into the middle ready. Have you ever had a Take 5 candy bar? They are super good. So it's got like 5 ingredients. So let me see if I can get it. Okay, so caramel, pretzels, chocolate, that would be 3. But that's really, peanuts. It's one of my husband's favorite little treats. So when I came across this recipe to make a Take 5 cake, awesome, right? And I love peanut butter and chocolate anyways, so this is going to be a wonderful cake for his birthday. Plus we're having some people come over for dinner tomorrow night, so I'll just make sure we have that for dessert as well. So Dolores over at the Baking Diva, she is making an easy peanut butter and chocolate eclair dessert. That sounds divine. So I'll put her link in to her video underneath mine. So after you watch my video, you can go over to her channel and show her some love. So I'm just gonna chop up these and leave them off to the side, and I'm gonna get ready to make the filling that has the peanut butter and powdered sugar mix. So it's super easy. So we're just gonna chop this up, and I'm also going to break up just some pretzels as well. So some mini pretzels, and I'll have those, and I'll put them all off to the side because, or I'll try not to eat them, right? Because I have a couple extras here, and I know there's more in that bag. You can't let them go to waste, right? So I'm kind of surprised that Jonas isn't here. Oh, well, actually, he's not here because he's taking a test for school. But if he were here and he knew I was chopping these up, he would be over here asking for some extras, which, who doesn't do that, right? Of course we all do. So I'm just gonna get this ready, and I'll show you what comes next. So I have my peanut butter and butter into this bowl, and I'm going to mix it until it's nice and smooth, and then I will add a teaspoon of vanilla and kind of get that going. Then we're gonna do 1 cup at a time, the powdered sugar. I love it. So I've added in my first of 5 cups, and I'm also going to add in some milk, because it's gonna stiffen up, so we want the milk to kind of get the consistency we want. So 1 of 5 cups going right here. It should give it a nice sweet part that's kind of like the inside of a peanut butter cup. So that, obviously that peanut butter is sweetened with a lot of sugar. So this is gonna be in between the layers of the cake, and it's delicious. Ta-da! So here it is. It just needs to be pliable or spreadable. And if this should stiffen up before my cakes have cooled, I can just add a little bit more milk to this, just a tiny bit to like loosen it up, so to say. And we'll be splitting this mixture in half. So half will go on one cake, and then the other half will go on the other cake with the toppings, all the other yummy stuff that we're gonna be making right now. So yum, yum. So while my cakes are cooling, I guess I get to do the tedious work of unwrapping every single caramel. So hopefully they get it into the pot, because I like to sample things a little much if I have to work really hard for them. I'm just kidding. But while those cakes are cooling, it'll give me enough time to do all of these. So this is gonna have a little bit of milk in it and I believe a little bit butter, but I'll double check. And you're just gonna melt it down and it'll be a drizzle on top of all the yumminess. And then we'll be making a chocolate ganache or chocolate like melted filling topping as well. And that's pretty much it. So you're thinking layers. You've got your cake layer, your peanut butter layer, your toppings, and then you get to eat it. So I'm gonna start the melting for the caramel, because I don't want it so hot that it like melts all the candy bar on top of the cake. So they're still cooling. So I'm gonna melt this and put it to the side. If I think it's hardening too much, of course I could hit it with a little bit more heat, but it's got milk and it's got a little bit of butter. And that recipe card is at the end of the video. But if you have any questions, email me at howinesrolls@gmail.com. Or you can always comment under the video and I'll be happy to help with any of the variations. You'll see that I don't have buttermilk or heavy cream or whatever it is that I needed. So I think it was heavy cream. So I am going to be putting milk with a little bit of butter as a substitute, because you can do that with cream and all I'm doing is melting chocolate chips. So I don't think it'll make the recipe too different, right? So this is gonna get melted. And the next step is the chocolate. So here is the yummy caramel sauce. Do you say caramel or caramel? I know depending on where you live, you might say it differently, but I just say caramel. And I'm also going to get started on the chocolate ganache, which remember I said previously that it needed cream, and I don't have cream, but I have milk. And so I looked online, and that's a wonderful resource, is to see how can you substitute something when you don't have that ingredient. And so it just said to add butter, because cream is fat pretty much. So I just added some butter. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. And so we're gonna just melt that down. It also says in the recipe card at the end of the video that I'm adding to put it in a glass bowl. So you're welcome to do that, but I don't like cleaning so many things. So I'm just going to add the chocolate chips right into this as it comes to a good melt, a little start to bubble. I don't want it to scald. So I'm just going to kind of get it mixed through, heat it through, get like a nice heat temperature rise to it, so to say. Get those chocolate chips in and just slow and low. And then I like that there's handles that I could just pour it over on top of the cakes and less cleanup. So I'll show you what that looks like. My chocolate is all done. The dark chocolate is gonna go so well with the peanut butter and the pretzels. It's gonna make it so good. So I'm just gonna let this cool down for just a few minutes, and then I'm gonna start putting it together, my favorite part. So I already have one of the cakes already on my cake stand, and then I have another one here on a wax paper. So I'm going to be putting the layers together, but I have to transfer one over to the other. So be prepared to laugh. Here we go. So I'm all done and I have to laugh because it's no reason to get frustrated, but here's my cake. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That should be like Pinterest fail. Okay, so I know what I did wrong. I moved them when they were too warm and everything kind of collapsed. That bottom layer is gorgeous and perfect, but when I try to put the top layer on, oh my goodness, it just crumbled so fast. And as I'm talking, I can see that there's things like sliding off. So we're going to call this a rustic cake. It's still so delicious. Like I keep licking my fingers. It's so good. So I'm going to put this into the back fridge and let it get hardened. So that is what my advice to you is if you're making this cake, let it cool completely, but even put it in the fridge. So that way it kind of gets a firmness to it. This cake is for our family and most importantly for Paul's birthday. We love him very much. And so happy birthday, honey. We won't invite anybody over to have some, but it is really good. So maybe I will. So throwing this with some ice cream and making it more like a hot fudge sundae might be the way to go with this, but so good. And I'm so glad I was able to make it. And I've made it before in the past, I think a couple of times, but the last time I made it, I must have walked away from it for like a couple hours. And so just me creating it with it being summer, it's just warm. And so they crumbled. And sometimes when you have lemons, you just make lemonade and it is delicious. I mean, look at how ooey gooey that chocolate is. And it's sweet middle, the cream parts with the frosting with the powdered sugar. Tastes like a Reese's peanut butter cup. So delicious. So when you make yours, and let me know if you do, walk away from the cakes after they've come out of the oven or put them in the refrigerator so they can come to a complete cool. You don't want this to happen, especially if you're going to be using it for a party or a family get together, because you might be scooping it out with some ice cream, which isn't a bad idea either. But I'm so glad to have done this collab with Dolores from the Baking Diva. I hope your eclairs, I'm sure they turned out perfect. Mine, on the other hand, Pinterest fail. But we're still gonna eat this. This is gonna be delicious. And I can already smell it. It's divine. So go over to the Baking Diva and give her some love. Tell her that I sent you and see if you end up making this recipe, let me know, because I want to see some pictures of the actual cake itself, and I hope that you have accomplished in their masterpieces. But if they don't, they fall apart like this, no, it's still a very, very delicious cake. So stick around. You just never know what I'll be rolling out next or which cake will be rolling off my platter. Stay tuned.